Hi and welcome to another episode of Let's Create a Pattern in Blender. And the goal today is to make the image that we have here on the right. So let's go right into it, and we need a UV, so Shift A, go to Input and select Texture Coordinate, because in the Texture Coordinate we have the UV. And if I take the UV to the base color, you can see now that we have 0 here, and we have 1 up here, and we have 1 here. What I would like to do, since this is a symmetrical shape, is to move this 0 point to the center and to make all the edges the same. So we have like 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and so on, and 0 in the center. So to make that happen, we need to use a subtract, because then we can subtract this to a negative 0.5, and I will show you how that looks. So just drag out and I write subtract, and then you can see vector math subtract. Take that to the base color, and now when I change the first two to 0.5, you can see that now we have the center point here. But this part is negative and this is positive, and it's also so that this is only 0.5, and I would like to be like -1 and a +1, and then I will convert that so everything is +1 on the edges and 0 in the center. So to do that, we first multiply this with 2, so Shift D, multiply by 2, and now we have -1 to a +1. And to make everything positive, we add an absolute here. So multiply will be copied using Shift D, and then I change this to an absolute here. And now we have something to work with. So this is a symmetrical thing, and this is also symmetrical. So this is only one tile here, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So before I continue, I think we should divide this into 4 tiles, and that we can do by using the scale. So I take the subtract and just press Shift D, and then I go to scale, and then I change the scale here to 2, and now you can see that center point moved a bit, but we can change that back again by adding a fraction, because now everything goes from 0 to 2, but the fraction will then cut it, so it will be 0 to 1 pieces, which then will be these tiles. So I take the scale here, press Shift D, and change it into a fraction. So as soon as I do that, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles, and that will fit us perfectly. And all we have to do now is to try to find this pattern here. And in this case, it's not so hard. So we separate X, Y, Z first. So we drag it out and write separate X, Y, Z. And if I take the X here, you can see that I get lines in this direction. And if I take Y, we get the lines in this direction. So if I take both the X and the Y, then it should be diagonal, because then I get some of this and some of that. So we can just add Shift A and convert the math, and we add those together. And then you can see now that we get something here. And if you are uncertain about if that is the same shape as we have here, then I can just do like this, that I add a less than. So Shift A, convert the math, and change this to a less than, and you can see that we get exactly the same pattern as we have here. The only thing that we are lacking right now is all these small values of colors, so we should change that. And to make that happen, we can take away the less than, and we can add a color ramp. But before we add a color ramp, you should think a little bit here, because we add X to Y, and the maximum value for X, as I explained in the beginning, is 1. So X added with Y means that the maximum value is 2, and we would like the color ramp to be in the range of 0 to 1. So that means that we can divide this with 2 first, so we change the less than to divide by 2. And now we get the value between 0 and 1. And then we can add everything here using a color ramp. So I just press Shift A, go to Converter, and select a color ramp and put that in here. And I also change the linear into constant, and now we can change things here to make it work. I would like to work in the other direction, so now we have it from the edges, and when I change here we go from, well, we can perhaps do like this. Yes, I can do it like this. So now we have this white here, which is the white here, and then we need some more lines. So I can just add some positives here, like that, and then I can just go to this and select distribute stops evenly, so we get it like this. And if I now go to the second one, I can go here and select the color, and then I just go to the eyedropper and select this color, so we get something in here. And it looks rather okay. Could be that we are lacking one of these, I think, because I can see that it's a little bit wider than this one. So I will add one more here, and then again distribute stops evenly, and now you can see we get it to be a little bit more narrow, and that fits perfectly to what I want here. So the first one was white, this one was brown, so I changed number 2 right now. So go to the eyedropper, and now I can select this color, and then this one was white again, so I changed this to white, and let's see, so red, green and blue is white, and after that, let's see, white, brown, white, and now we should have some brown again. So select this one, and then the eyedropper on this, and we got that part, and you can see it's on the edge here and it's on the edge here, so it looks that it's okay. And after that it was black, so go to this one and change it into black, and after black it was this brown thing or grayish thing again, so select this one and the eyedropper to one of these, so we get that in. And finally we had some brown in the center here as well, so let's see, first white first, and that's correct, and then we had brown in the center, so this one should be brown as well. So go with the eyedropper to this one, but we cannot see it right now, so I have to drag it out just a bit, and then we can get it here. Could be so that we should have move this just a little bit, so we get more in. Now this is like a photo, so it could be a little bit distorted, but we try to get it in the ways that it gets as similar as possible here. So now we have something that is very close to, let's me see, it's always some fine-tuning here, but I think something like this will be okay. So now we have that in, and now almost everything is finished. The only thing I would like to have more is to really make this like a tile. So we have one tile here, one here, and total 4 tiles. And that we can easily add after the separate here by adding those like in parallel here. And the easiest way to do a tile, I have been through this many times in my 5 minutes tutorials that I also have, so if you don't know exactly how to do it, you can check that, but I will quickly go through it here as well. So I will copy this one, Shift D, and I will change it to smooth minimum. I take the X here and the Y here, and if I take this into the base color, you can see now that we have this here. You can also change it to smooth maximum, and then use subtract here. So Shift A, converter, math, and put a subtract of 1 here. So we get it like this. That will also work. So here we have something. And in this one we have now round corners, and here we have square corners. And you decide that with the distance here. I would like to have something, so we could keep that to 0.1 or something like that. And then we have this shape where I can see the cross here, and I would like that to go away. And we can do that with a map range. So I add a map range after this. So Shift A, converter, map range, take that in, drag this to the value. And I can take this to the base color as well, so it's easy to see. And then I just take the from max to be a lower number, and then you can see everything moves out here. And we are working with really flat stuff here, so I perhaps put this to like 0.05 or something like that. So now we have a really small edge, which works fine here. So all we have to do now is to combine this result with the result that we had here. And that we can do with just a color mix. So Shift A, and then go to color, mix color. And the mask will be the result what you get from the map range. You'll put that in here. And then the bottom, the B, will be this color. And A will be the color that we have on the mortar. So if I put this to the base color and this to the surface, we now have this very similar thing to this. Could be that this is a little bit blurred, so we can add some multiplication of power or something like that here to strengthen the edges here. So I press Shift A, go to converter, math, and then I can change this to like multiply, and then I press clamp here so we never go over 1, and then you can see I can then drag this to make a sharper edge to make it really nice and similar to this one. So drag it up to something like that, and then I also change the mortar color to be a little bit brighter and perhaps some brownish version of it, just a little bit, something like that. You can fine-tune it as you want to. So now if I take it up, it looks like this, and the image looks like this. And I think we are rather close to this one, so I will let it go here and think that, well, we succeeded. So just a quick repetition is that scale and fraction is what makes it possible to have 4 of these. So if I put the scale to 4, you get then more of these, and with 2 we have exactly as the image. And fraction, then take all these scales into small parts between 0 and 1. The part with subtract, multiply, and absolute was what moved the center to the center in the UV and then transformed the negative into positive. So we got between 0 and 1. So 0 in the center and 1 on the edges here. So that transformed everything there. The pattern was very easy. It was just to add to get it to be diagonal. And then we divide by 2 just to have it between 0 and 1. And then we just add the colors here. And we also made the tiles by using a maximum between X and Y. And to reverse the result, we subtracted, took 1 and subtracted map range to take away the shape that was like a pyramid here, and then we multiplied it to get it sharper on the edges, and then some color on that. So hopefully you learned something today as well, and I say bye for now and see you later.